Borders matter. There's a reason why every map you're going to look at, whether it's a state or countries, have borders. These aren't just some arbitrary lines. The borders tell you what the law is on one side of it versus where it is in the other. Our immigration laws are the most generous in the world. No country in the world is more generous on immigration than the United States. It's not even close. And we've created a process for people to come here legally. And if you follow that process, we're going to welcome you with open arms. You're going to enrich our country. I would imagine everyone in this room at some point had someone who came to the United States through whatever the process was at that time. And it certainly has defined us as a great country. You follow that process, we're going to welcome you. If you don't follow that process, you're not going to be able to stay. That should be what we do. That makes all the sense in the world, especially for this country, because as bad as we may think things are in America, and they are, inflation and gas prices, it's still way better than everywhere else. And so the bottom line is, if tomorrow we announced anyone who wanted to come to America could, 250 million people would come, maybe more, would try to come here. Not hard to understand, guys. You don't need some, Ivy League study to figure this out. If you tell people, hey, you shouldn't come, but if you do, you're going to get to stay, people are going to come. And they're coming at a rate that's unparalleled. Just from Cuba alone, we already have more people in the last 9 months than the entire Mariel boat lift. That's just from one country. You know why it's not coming through the airport? Because they screen for it there. You know why it's coming across the border? Because we don't. Because we have an administration that doesn't care about enforcing the law. Because frankly, and I'll be honest with you about this, their base, their activists, their supporters, support open borders. They'll never say it because they know it doesn't poll well. But they think the border should be open and anyone who wants to come across should. There's no country in the world that would tolerate that. Mexico wouldn't tolerate it. Guatemala wouldn't tolerate it. Canada wouldn't tolerate it. And we shouldn't either.
Hey, Senator James Lankford here. I'm on the border in South Texas tonight. Been down here for the last couple of hours at one particular spot here at the border. You can see there's a whole group of folks that have just recently been apprehended, that they're going through the processing. This particular group's from Honduras and Nicaragua, and they're coming through. We've met other groups from other places tonight, and folks that are actually coming across the border. It's still a constant stream of people coming across the border every day, all day, in each area of the border, and it's literally by the thousands that are still coming in. I still have folks that catch me and say, the things on the border must be much better because I don't hear anything about it anymore. That's just absolutely not true. Actually, what has happened now is the Biden administration has made it much more efficient to cross the border. So the folks that are actually apprehended will be released into the country within the next hour and a half. They will get an asylum hearing that is 8 years from now in the future, and they're allowed to be able to stay in the country for the next 8 years while they await that hearing.
¿Qué pasó? ¿Está listo para pasar tú?
Border. They keep saying we don't have an open border. We absolutely still have open borders all the way across the southwest border of the United States. And so this is the frustration. I'll try to keep you informed as I'm spending quite a bit of time here tomorrow.
There is a real crisis at the southern border. This is one that should be getting substantially more attention, substantially more ink than what it's getting or time on the air, and it's simply not. Why do I say that? Well, since the new administration took over, 2.6 million illegal immigrants have attempted to enter the country and have been encountered by United States personnel. That doesn't count the ones that have gotten in that did not have an encounter. So 2.6 million had an encounter. Now, what does that 2.6 million equal? If it was a city, it would be tied for the third largest city in America. If it were a state, it would exceed the population of 11 of the states. So this is a crisis in America today. The prior administration, however you feel about them, took a number of actions to effectively stem the flow of illegal migration and build political will in neighboring countries to improve their law enforcement and asylum processing capabilities. These policies were working. Attempted illegal immigration was a small fraction of what changed when this administration took over. This administration dismantled these measures and failed to put in place workable alternatives. Importantly, Very importantly is the message that was sent. We all saw them being interviewed on TV. They said if this president was elected, we were welcome here and we could come in, and they were really at a loss as to why there was any problem with this because they believed they were invited. These policies are not only undermining our own efforts to reduce illegal immigration, but also disincentivizing regional governments from taking action to enforce their obligations that would make migration more orderly, safe, and controlled. This is why several of my Senate Foreign Relations Committee colleagues and I released a report that details the problem at hand and offers concrete recommendations to achieve safety and security at our U.S. southern border and the region at large and return us to where we were before this administration took over. This is the report. There's copies here. I'm sure you'll find that interesting reading. The time to take action is now. We must establish effective immigration controls in the United States, including extending Title 42, reinstating the migrant protection protocols and asylum cooperative agreements, strengthening border security and migration management capabilities in the region. As such, I'm announcing I have introduced the Solving Border Crisis Act with Senator Portman, who's here today, which would enact into law several of the findings in our reports. I can't stress enough the importance of implementing these solutions immediately to protect our sovereignty and national security. We will be pressing hard to move this legislation. But we are not naive. We're here because the administration wants to have the situation the way it is, because they could fix it, and they could fix it easily. And this isn't going to change unless the administration reverses course, and they probably won't. But what we have in front of you is a blueprint for the next administrations to deal with this critical problem that restores America back to a place where people who come here are welcomed here, and who come here legally are welcomed here, and we hope to get back to that at some point in time.